the meeting of the Finance and Property Committee on Tuesday the 14th of April 2026. We have an agenda in front of us. Item 1 is apologies for absence.
None received.
None received. That's good. And 2 is a confirmation of the minutes of the meeting held on the 17th of March, which have been distributed. Are there any comments? Most of it comes up in the agenda. If so, if you're happy, you can have a proposer and second that. Accept those. Thank you, Jean. Second that. Thank you, John. All agreed?
I can't vote on these.
Okay. Item 3 is declaration of members' interest to receive any pecuniary or other registrable interest relating to the items on the agenda. No comments? No, I'll move on. Item 4 is the budget and financial report up to the 31st of March 2026. And I understand Councillor Atkinson's got a report to give us. Thank you, David.
Okay, thank you. Sorry, a bit late getting information out, but it's hot off the press. We're still working on it yesterday, trying to get some idea. This is slightly different than the ones in the past because this is an attempt to look at the year-end position. But bear in mind, the year-end was only 4 days ago. It might be a bit premature. So I apologise in advance.
Sorry, sir. Are we looking at agenda 4B?
4A.
All right.
Sorry, I haven't got
That's-
the paper you're referring to.
Profit and loss in the paper that I just gave you.
Oh, right, sorry, I thought that was for the council.
No, it is very hot off the press.
This one?
Yeah.
Okay, thanks.
So a bit premature, but it's an attempt because it does, once the result, it does need some thinking out. So it's wrong. I'm more than prepared to fall on my sword in total agony and a lot of things. But anyway, the reason we're trying to get out quickly is that the internal audit is already booked for later this month. With a bit of luck, we could get everything signed off at the next meeting. And still think really it should be signed off by this committee, not the next committee, which has happened in the past. So that's why we're trying to speed it up, if that's okay. The budget this year, budget last year, there was a lot of flexibility built into it because we're conscious that, well, we're saving up partly because of possible LGR matters, and also because of paying back the MMO. So we try to get ahead of steam for that reason. If we look at, just go down some of the items, there's a few shaded, just words and quick comment. If we just follow those, then we'll get to the interesting bit at the bottom. So if we look at interest, been steadily rising. It's now £3,200 for last year, and even though interest rates are falling this year, we should be in excess of 5,000 of interest because it should be a good deposit in the bank. If you look at car parking, sorry, I should just tell you the variations on the right hand side, the variations read the budget. So I've just picked on some of that, the important. Car parking was 4,000 above budget, and that was a good summer, simple as that. If you look at the boat park, we've been struggling with the boat park because there's a whole series of issues about advance payments, opening advance payments, opening debits, and all sorts of things. So next time round we'll make it a lot easier, but at the moment the year-end is reporting just less than 22,000, which is sort of back on budget. Now we've built all the accruals and things and all that sort of things. So just to give you some idea, last year eventually turned out to be 18,000, and I think the true position at the moment is about 24,000 on something like that. But anyway, it's 22,000 this year, which is important, and especially with nothing there before. Sales income has done very well. That's partly because this year we had 2 town guides for various reasons. So that was +8, but the cost of sales has risen to the level below that for obvious reasons. So the net gain in sales over above budget is 9.7 thousand, which is the figure on the right. So in some of that, we're up £10,000, which is on budget, which is quite good. Then we go to the costs, the variations slides the same way. So a positive number is a good number, and a negative number is a bad number. But the highlight, legal fees, if you remember, we were ensconced with things like Haven, when we set the budget, and possibilities of LGR happening before now. So we didn't spend as much as we thought, and so we're nearly £5,000 up on budget there. The maintenance is minus 2,000, which is a pity, but we haven't had the FA money, which would be 2,500. So if we'd had that, that would have been bang on. And I would like to think the FA budget, the FA grant is not dead yet.
We have claimed it, it's about 1,900.
So that would put that right. It's important we keep on the FA because of the future. If we look at item 30, equipment and signage, that was whatever it is, I can't really think here, £5,000 whatever it is. That's because we didn't buy the bins last year that we budgeted for. So Terry had to tighten his belt a little bit, and we decided to put that into this year's budget. So that's why that's down. The salaries, we've had one less person the last couple of months, but also on such a big item like that, you've only got to get your budget percent out, fortunately, the right way, and we do very well. So as a consequence, we're up £10,000 on salaries. When you're estimating that, I mean, everything else, it's on the right side, so 10,000 up. Structural reconfiguration, that's what makes some structural change to how we operate, which we haven't, so there's 5,000 up there. We put a community reserve in for £10,000, which we didn't spend, and the reason for that was, we decided last time around that we were going to employ our own police force, which we chose not to do, so we've saved there. Then the big elephant in the room, contingencies should have been £1,500 and it's 34,000. There's two reasons. One is £8,000 was for things like Japanese knotweed discovered in Broad Park, and trees kept growing down and that sort of thing. And then of course the big one, which is the 26,000 MMO. So that obviously there's a big hit there, but there we are. And then supplementary at 45, we're 5,000 up there because we didn't buy the CCTV for the boat park that we planned, and various other bits of equipment. And again, Terry was very gracious in not pressuring the point, so we've did there. So if you top that whole lot up, we're £28,000 up on the budget. We thought we were going to make a surplus of 19,000, we aimed for £20,000, so we've actually got 47,365. I'll just caution you that it is hot for the press, and there could be some issues. Well, it's certainly have to be refined. Not all the invoices are in, but I think that's a pretty good estimate of where we are, more or less. There's a few things just to we've got in addition to the 47,000, there's £5,000 to repay £5,000 it goes into the bank, but that was the remainder of the beach hut sale. If you remember, we bought it for £5,000 some years ago, and we've replacing that, so we've sold it and neutralised that account. So that'll have to be asset register. Then advanced boatyard receipts. It is a bit confusing, and it's because we start from scratch with ongoing charges, and there's various things to do. Anyway, it's been a bit confused, but I'm suggesting we put £8,700 earmarked in case it's all to do with advance payments and things, but that will make sure that, so what I'm trying to say is that this year it's £22,000, and next year, because of advance payments, there's 8,700, which we could put into that account to top it up to overcome these problems. That was very badly explained, apologize for that.
But we know
But-
what you mean.
But what it'll mean is that last year was 18,000, this year's 22,000, and next year will be no less than 18,000. It's in the campaign, it's in, and that's already, that doesn't come off the amount of money that's all recorded in this. Sorry about that. So then if we look at where we are in our reserves, we brought forward £171,000 from last year. And then we've just, if this is correct, we've added to that £47,000. Then we add to that £5,000 for the asset sale of the beach hut. So we end up with £223,000 in the bank. It's not in the bank yet because of debtors, which again is slightly worrying. So next month we'll know what the debt situation is, but it should be okay. If you look at the book, everyone's got a different theory, but if we said our reserve threshold should be £185,000, that puts us right at the top of the green. We are in very good condition, and which I think should maintain that. Partly because when people are looking at this over the next 12 months, LGR wise, that might be if they see that we're prudent people, that might help our case. So if we said 185,000 is the figure, then that's very, very solid, which gives us headroom, if you like. Sound like Rachel Reeves, like about £30,000. I wouldn't, and I think that is I think we can use that as a basis for decision making to be refined, but it's something like that. So we're now in a position, for the first time we've actually got some headroom to play with.
Yeah.
Decide what we're doing. I know that later in the agenda there's a call from FCA for some monies for looking at things. So that's where we are, and how we get disposed of some of that, I think we cover in the next agenda. But it should be wisely spent. And this is going to be could be an expensive year. So,
Well, thank you very much. But just for understanding, so next month will be the last meeting before the end of the year. Is the position. What were you going to bring forward? Would you have a full set of accounts then for that one? Because is this provisional or is it?
this is provisional, but because it gives you, there's a few numbers that start thinking about in advance. If we want to start earmarking monies, next time round is the time to do that. So I'm hoping this is pretty true, good record of what's going on. But then Tracy, presumably we should be getting very well on with all the documentation for, and if you, by which time we'll have the internal auditor would have been had a look. So hopefully he said that's all looking good. So the next meeting we'll sign it all up.
Yeah.
I hope. But
Well, I think on behalf of the whole committee and council, David, I'd like to say thank you very much for all your hard work this year. And I wonder if we could just admit that actually, because it's been exceptional, and your guidance has been much appreciated. Any comments, Chris?
I just asked Dave, on the landlord improvements, we didn't spend 4,700, is that simply because we're going to spend it this year, or was it not needed?
that was virtually entirely devoted to the playgroup. The playgroup is stalled, so they wanted a lease and to fulfill the fully repaired and insured lease, and we would have to spend 7,300. But as it's stalled, which we need to do some balance in, we either put the rent up or we finish the lease off. The ball's in their court.
Playgroup is one of our testers, isn't it? Like £100 or something?
Yes.
So that money's being carried forward in the event that the lease.
So that's, yeah, that's,
Could be potential
so
this year.
we need to be cognizant of that when we do the, and one last thing, just to clarify what we're saying, we finished this year's, the financial year ended on the 31st of March.
Yes.
Right, that's what I thought.
But still invoicing things, but I mean, this
Yeah.
is it.
Great.
I think you've underplayed yourself, David, because the way I see it, we've still got a total due is 40,000. So the figures could be even better.
It could be a bit better, or it could be a bit worse.
Something. What you're talking about is cash accounting, this is accounting.
Yeah.
So all of this debt is already in there.
It's got total due.
Yeah, that due is, these figures are based on the invoices, not on the money collection.
Well, basically, we operate almost through the year. We operate cash accounting, and then right at the last minute we change to accrual accounting, and I don't, which is peculiar of all authorities.
But all this, the ones on the boat park here,
Yeah.
are in this boat park.
Yeah.
Yeah, this is what I'm saying, so you can't then add that on.
Well, you've got boat park net is 22,000.
Yeah,
And
and
then we're
that's,
saying you've got another 40,000
no, the
outstanding.
22,000 includes the boat parks that haven't paid yet.
And then everything else as well. So,
Sorry?
and everything else, because obviously there's other things apart from the
Yeah,
boat
no.
park in there, isn't there?
The accounting he's done here is that all the numbers, when we raise an invoice,
Yeah.
it goes on there.
Yeah.
This is when we collect it, it's a different thing.
Yeah.
So you can't take that 40,000 and then add it on, because it's already in there. So, okay?
Yeah, thank you again, Dave. I think you should audition as the wizard for the next Harry Potter film, mate, because you've actually turned these accounts round from looking, pretty worrying, to really, as you say, really solid. And I think I don't know how we're going to manage budget allocations, and obviously there are some standing items that need allocating, but I think recognising that, now we have a definite shape to local government reorganisation, unity of three councils. Obviously, I'll give a brief update on Thursday, but it looks like it's going ahead, again, subject to council elections, but so there will be a structural order in July, as I understand it, and then things will progress. Now, in terms of our council position, it is really, incredible that we do have that, what you call a headroom, but just a word of caution that going forward, the district council have said they're not actually going to fund any of our costs related to LGR, and they made that quite clear from the outset. So when we are faced, and I'm constantly told, I ask for updates, we're constantly told that we are a council who are in pole position, we're ahead of the game, we're much better off than most, Malden and Harwich and all the rest of the town councils, in terms of having submitted our position prior to Christmas, so we're 3-4 months down the line now. But there are potential costs associated with the next step on that, in terms of preparing business case, and also in terms of looking at condition surveys and feasibility and risk assessments and legal fees, because we actually haven't got any of them. We've asked tendering for those. We haven't got, there's no condition on maintenance logs related to things that we might inherit, apart from, superficially the car parks and the toilets. But if we're looking at the Western Prom, you've got no underground unknowns there. And I would like to think that we were going in with our eyes open on any of those transfers, and aware of a sort of 3 to 5 year risk period, and that to do that we would need some fairly technical, professional assessments, and obviously they're going to cost money. So I would just urge us, to be cautious as you put the budget forward. But the next step is probably the biggest one potentially for this council in decades, and I welcome the opportunity to put forward a case for some of these things that we will, the professional assessments that we will need to make well-informed decisions, and then we could usefully start doing some initial assessments of what those costs might be in terms of, you know, as I say, condition surveys for drains, condition surveys for water supplies, risk assessments for some flooding and so on, and then legal fees associated with contracts and transfers. So I think, you know, that's really put us in a very powerful position to take that forward in a very positive way. So thank you very much, Nick.
Well done.
Memberships right, but yeah, I totally agree that I don't remember we looked at some of the LGR, we looked at the grid stream figures about balloons and car parks and all, and it all looked very like it's just a string of numbers. There's nothing behind it. You know, the hopefully reasonably good estimates, but there's nothing. So and we've only got one chance of getting that right. So I would have said that after that first call. I mean, I know, I also support, I know coming up, there's going to be a request to have some money for moving projects forward. I think it should be two linked together. We should be very generous in allocating that money and earmark it, and that's it. In fact, I would put the whole bloody lot in.
But it's about managing the estate, isn't it, that we've got, or looking at the estate we might get, and I think any money that is spent on anything, as we've found with North Park Rec, you know, we did a topographical survey, and they're historical records that can be used down the line for any grants or any, you know, further decisions by this council, as to, you know, not us may not be here for the next round of decisions on what we do with the assets, but I think as long as we leave as much information that allows people to make a very well informed decision, I think that's the best we can do.
Totally agree. I think I've got John next, and then I'll come back to you.
Thanks, Mick. I was just got a couple of things. Mick, is that door firmly closed on any monies coming from Tamrion, or is there a trigger point?
I think they've said that the actual costs that we might incur is they're not going. They haven't got any contingency fund or any money for that. So that would be mainly they're talking about legal fees and, as I say, surveys and assessments. I'm not saying they're not going to give any money, because I think part of our bargaining position is that we would be asking for, if we are going to go ahead with any asset transfers, we would be saying we've done a condition survey and there's a high risk associated with us taking it. So if we take it, we would like a kind of bond or an insurance cover that gets us through, because we can't, you know, whilst we've got some money in the bank, we can't take on the level of risk that taking on some of the assets would entail. So, you know, hundreds of thousands of pounds. So we will be asking for some kind of handshake type kind of fee and money, but I don't think the actual, you know, revenue costs of our operation, they will not fund.
I mean, it's not surprising,
Yeah.
but going on from what Dave said about looking at what reserves we've got and how we spend it wisely, of course, any government knows if they look upon a small entity and see that they've got a lot of cash reserves, they're not going to be so kind to them, giving them a little bit of a handshake as if they haven't got it. So, well, it's a natural thing.
I think it's almost the other way. I think they'd be more confident about our ability to handle it. I mean, would you rather give money to Tenbury Council, who's in the black, or Thurrock Council, who's £1 billion in debt?
Yeah,
that's what you give it.
That's right. But the fact is that, yeah, Dave's point about spending those reserves wisely locally is a good thing. And because we're ahead of the game, Nick, with Tenbury, with all the protocols that we've put into place, you can keep nibbling at that, which you'll do.
Definitely.
Well, so,
in a
yeah.
very good position.
Yeah, no, absolutely. Thanks for all your efforts on that, Nick.
Yeah, I think I endorse everything what's been said, but I think the crux to us now is communication. I think we've got to do better with communication, because a lot of this information now, there's going to be caveats. I think that if we do that now, we start to put stuff out now, you know, and I think we did after the last finance, we did put a little thing out, you know, prudent financial planning, as you put us on a strong position. We've already put that out, so let's put another one out. And then also as well, one of the things what we should be aware of as well and we could be open for criticism sometimes, but we've got really good, strong reserves, which we have. And there is an argument that we take council tax from our residents, and we have to get, and then take on board the projects. We have to get out there, and the project's what we're working on. So we can say, right, we've got really good, strong reserves, and then we've got council tax coming in, and that means that we can then look at this, this, and this.
I fully agree with you about the comms team and getting more information out. You're on the comms team as well, so absolutely. More
Yeah, I mean,
information.
comms will put stuff out on strategic stuff
Yeah.
when they've been given the green light by full council.
And full council. Any other comment? David, do you want to say more?
Well, just finishing, we always forget conveniently about depreciation. For some reason, local authorities don't depreciate anything, but the fact is that our equipment is running out of steam. It's got replaced, so you have to have depreciation.
Why can't we put depreciation line?
No, I mean, we can earmark money for depreciation, it's just in normal accounts, depreciation is a dominant factor.
Absolutely.
But in our accounts, you don't, it's forgotten about. But I know there's different issues of how we do that. But, so maybe that should be just sort of thought about. I just thought that the reason I'm trying to do this quickly was there's a lot to think about, but by the next meeting, I would like to think we'll finalise it and we know exactly what money we're earmarking for what.
Okay.
All those that we want it.
But that's
So this is advanced thinking.
Yeah, it's been a great piece of work. Any other comments?
Well, no,
Do we
maybe.
need to vote this or? No, just note it. But thank you very much. It's a very, very good report and it shows that we've moved a long way. Next item is B, which is financial monthly overview for March 2020.
Do you want me to do that?
Yeah.
Okay, just to confirm that the income received during March was £14,740.13, and expenditure during March was £25,603.67, and bank balances on all accounts at the total of end of March was £199,407.78.
Thank you very much. Any comment?
Sorry, just going to say, you said 67 pence.
Did I? Sorry.
Is that?
Yeah,
Well-
so whatever's listed there should
Okay,
be.
thank
Well
Yeah,
noted.
sorry.
Well noted. Thank you, Chief. Okay, so we'll therefore move on to C, which is credit control as of the 31st of March 2026, which is in front of you. Is this list, I think this is depreciated from last month, I believe.
Yeah.
50,000.
Seems to be a longer list last year. Obviously, a lot of these are boat park people and allotment people which are coming in. It does say that quite a few of them are paid, as you can see.
Yeah, and there's further paid since we've done this on the month.
The big one though, Havens.
Yes,
Yeah,
that came in on the 1st of April.
the Winkies Fish and Chip Restaurant, what is that?
And I don't know, yeah, Julie's chasing everybody at the moment.
So is it, well, just ask that, so that's interesting, the ones that are town guide didn't pay by credit card then? Or weren't they able to at the time?
In advance, do you mean, or?
Yeah, I thought we were gonna try this year, so we took an order for them, they would do it via the credit card system.
Oh, I don't know.
And we are doing that more and more. I think it progressively over the next year, that will be the norm.
So I just realised, and we're only talking about 1 to 14 days.
It mustn't be too
I've got
aggressive.
to confess, I'm on this.
You are?
Hey,
Yeah.
yeah, when?
Um,
Direct debit, I'll check it.
Please do.
I'll just,
They won't, we
no,
won't,
I did it before she even written the invoices.
we won't mention it. Any other comments on
But I
the
will get
deficits?
I'm sorry.
In that case, I will move on.
I'm not doing one because I've just checked it.
Examine the accounts, number
That's fine.
5, which is receive and approve the recommendation of the members, will need 2 amendments. Me and David last time, anybody can stay behind and do the accounts. John?
Okay,
And Chris.
we're staying for the,
Oh, yeah, oh, I wasn't going to stay for planning. If somebody else would like to do
I'll
it,
do it.
Chris.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Yeah, just to confirm, there's 20 payments and some are £13,693.72.
Thank you. The item 6 is financial requests for the from the last week. This is the town council meeting for Canberra. Did you get any further information, Richard?
Yeah, I've got some more information. I sent 4 choices to Tracy. They're all a little bit complex, by email.
When?
Last month. Well, I'll go through them. They're all rather, I think I copied you in as well. They're all rather complex. And I think Chris may have been looking on a different level for a long time as well.
Well, I think the problem is you've just, I mean, buying a camera is like saying let's buy a car.
Yeah, you got it.
There's 500 different versions.
There's 500 different versions. You can almost put it into the category of bring a salesman in and he'll give you all the singing, dancing things for a lot of money, which Dave wouldn't want. Get a simple camera for about £300 to £400, which sits in the middle, and it uses AI to scan who's talking and picks up on that. A little bit dicey because they can get themselves complicated. You can turn that facility off. The one that I would like to propose is a camera called Visnet at £455. It's a mid to large conference room. It sits in the middle. It can use AI, but you can turn it off. The most important thing on that, whenever I've done any research on it, it comes up with reviews of crystal clear audio.
Yeah, that's.
Yeah, which is a real, I mean, that's our failing on this.
Is that a centre one as well?
These are all centre ones.
How much is this?
That's £455. It's plug and play, which I think is important, so that when any employees or officers or anything want to use it, they can just plug and play. They don't need a university degree. The angle of view is 90 degrees, which I think is important. 90 degrees is a good angle of view.
So where would you place it?
I think, well, it sort of says in the middle of the room, and then it zooms round if you turn the AI on. But I have seen, I know this is contentious, I have seen different room configurations here rather than this in the middle type thing, whereby this table is opened up. If this table was opened up, you could put it there and it would get us all. But it's a contentious thing.
You didn't get the audience in, though.
I don't know. Just go with it.
No, that'd be illegal. I think that's a listener, I think.
They're not allowed to record.
Not given.
But all of these that I've looked at are available on the dreaded Amazon. Now, the good thing about Amazon is that you take it out of the box, you plug it in, it says, oh, this is a load of rubbish, you just send it back again. So, I guess, and I value Chris's input on this.
No, I picked that one out myself.
You did, okay.
Yeah, I mean, I think the critical issue from all the complaints I've ever received is scent.
Yeah.
You know, they're not too worried what you look like, but to become a hero sculptor, which is the important thing, really.
It is. And this came up well on sound, did it?
It did, it did. I think though, as John's implied, I think positioning is going. I have been in several meetings like this with these cameras, and I have to say the ones that sit there that turn are incredibly distracting.
Yeah.
That's what I was wondering. I mean, do you have to sort of go?
Yeah, you're all worried about that bit. And opening it up here and having it so it's, you might, if you did that, you'd need a wider angle. That's the only thing. But I would suggest that that's far less distracting than something buzzing around here. 'Cause it does buzz.
But you can turn that thing off.
Yeah, but with only a 90-degree angle, you'd only get half of us.
So it does need to turn.
It's, as I say, it's a slightly more complicated decision than just look at a camera.
So the decision really is: are we really desperate for a new camera now? Because I think we'd say that this does give a picture, but doesn't give a sound.
But it does give sound when you listen to it on the computer.
Yeah.
I can hear it perfect.
Well,
A lot of people say they can't.
Can I make a suggestion that this committee says a maximum of £500, and then John and I will go through it again to see what's
That's a very fair decision.
Because otherwise we'll go backwards and forwards with this one.
Great.
Yeah, can we just clarify then, if they use AI on the machine, that it automatically does the minutes and also the recommendations?
So there is one here called the Ozbot. No, sorry, the Philips. The Ozbot, it's a good name. Ozbot Tiny Tool. Anyway, the Philips one does do that.
But you should be aware that whilst it does the minutes, Graham,
It's not,
it doesn't allocate them
In terms of,
in terms of who said what.
or maybe we should look at one which says, because the one we've got tendering does
Yeah.
show up who's talking.
Yeah, unfortunately.
Okay, so that's-
I think you can add another 2 knobs to the.
I have looked at that one.
Yeah, but let's, you know, this is the way it's gonna go, isn't it? You know, so why don't we do it now rather than, you know, wait.
That one is thousands.
Yeah, a 50, I would have said. The problem is that to make that work, you have to have a station in front of you to log in.
Yeah.
And then you log in, and then when it hears you're speaking to that mic, you can allocate that
Yeah.
part of the conversation to you.
Yeah.
There isn't one yet that can actually pick up everybody and do it automatically. You've got to speak through a speaker.
And hopefully the people of Brightonsea do know their councillors.
Good one.
I think it's a very good suggestion. Anybody not think it's a good suggestion? We allocate
If you said
£500.
500.
You're moving that?
Yeah.
I'll second it.
Anybody wants to be against that? All those in favour? Let's carry.
Good. Chair, can I bring in my tourism on this?
If you'd like to bring it in here, yes, because it's a financial, no, I think it's a financial request, so let's do that.
Thanks very much. Okay, councillors, on the last finance meeting, I indicated that the tourism panel is looking at a press and PR day, whereby we're inviting the press, radio, and social media influencers into the town to showcase the town off for a day or for a walk, culminating with a light lunch at Cognac Club. Well, that committee is working hard on this at the moment. We've got all the invites ready to go. Last Friday, we had our ultimate meeting on this, where we looked at the cost for the lunch. The Cognac Club have advised that they are happy to do this at cost. And I'm here, cap in hand, asking finance formally asking for £200 of funding for that night lunch.
What day is it on, Joe?
15th of May.
Yeah, I have noted it on my thing.
I will be putting a paper to full council on the actual logistics of this.
We were just talking about getting our message out through comms and so on, and I would have thought this was the extension of comms and try to get some the publicity through, from the media, isn't it, really? Any comments?
Yeah, John, I wondered if you'd considered any sort of forward takeaway.
I hadn't, no.
Because, I mean, most of these events, I remember going to one in Haven Gateway,
Yeah. Yeah.
You know, and you've got something so that it was on your desk. So when you 3 weeks later, it was a memoir of it.
I was on the food there.
Take away in this situation is at least the old way was to give a diary or something like that, or a pen or something like that. But the general idea is that you spend a lot of money bringing these people here, they have a very nice lunch, and it gives them something on their desks that then they say, well, now I was talking to somebody from somewhere and there it is on their desk, right?
Yes, we have. We're doing a little tote bag from the museum.
Tote bag,
Yeah,
yes.
and inside the tote bag will be a memory stick, which will be badged, if you give me a bit more money, which will be badged with the Brightonsea Town Council logo and Visit Brightonsea, which is our tourism website. The memory stick will also contain high-resolution photographs of all that's good with the Brightonsea. It will also include as much information as we can on what's happening this summer, so that we can go down with it. It will also include our film and the latest thing, a song all about Brightonsea, composed by a resident musician, which is, I can play you if you want, but it's a real good ditty and I can say.
Not Martin Crowe, is it?
Pardon?
It's
It's not the Motley Crue thing.
No. But yeah, it will do.
So there's something to take away, yeah.
There will be some. And of course, all councillors are invited to these
Have
sections.
you got to buy these tote bags and things?
No, the museum's donating the tote bags, unless you've got some.
I have got tote bags, but I'm not certain that, I haven't got the brightness in picture on, but I think I have probably got enough of the carrier bags.
Okay.
Um,
I'll ask
that have
Margaret.
got the brightness in print on, that were left from Dad.
Oh, okay then. Well, I'll ask Margaret. I mean, she's got something in mind, I know. I mean, the way the day goes, it will be meet here, High Street Museum, Promenade, Lido, along the Promenade, Harbour Tour, then light lunch.
What does everyone think?
I think it's very good.
So do I. Anybody not think that?
Go for it.
So do we
So when's the
support?
John?
Support?
15th of May, tendering tourism would be invited, which would include.
What
Who's
time?
10 o'clock, isn't it?
10 o'clock here, 10 o'clock here. We won't be here for long. The lunch is at 1 o'clock. And I apologise for the lateness of this application, to be honest. I mean, this has been planned for about 8-9 months.
What
How much
numbers
was
are you
you
talking
asking for?
about?
Pardon?
How
What?
much was you asking for?
Two.
Well, I'm asking for £200, but now I'm thinking about, I'd like to put another 50 quid on that for my little tote bags. But,
How many would you expect numbers?
well, we're looking at 25 to 30, depending on how many councillors come. I've made provision for all councillors to come, bearing in mind that there's a free lunch that might just entice them.
But we don't need tote bags. do we?
All have to declare an interest.
You will. You don't need to.
So my apologies.
I'll
Okay,
give
that's
you, if you, right, councillors won't need this, but I'll supply you with a brightness in print magnet.
Oh, thank you very much. Thank you. So the big thing on this is that many of you know that the tourism committee is very much resident-led and businesses. So we've got representation from the High Street with Peter. We've got representation from the museum with Margaret. We've got hopefully representation from Lido with the chair, whose name is Celia. And H. Representation from the harbour, who will give a little harbour tour. Which you have to bear in mind, you know, they do bring in a few thousand yachts each year. And representation from the Cone and Sailing Club to say that all's best down there for their facilities.
Okay, sounds very good. So you're looking for 250.
Mr. Page?
You're proposing that?
Mhm.
Have you seconded it?
Yeah.
All in favour?
What flavour crisps do we all like?
You might look at,
Fine,
you've got
then we'll
25
argue.
people, you might be able to go to one of the, you can actually take away.
Well, that's
not
well,
a
Christian
bad idea.
mentioned that. It's just.
Yes, I didn't mean that,
Yeah.
but.
Well,
It's
no,
not a
no,
bad
no, it's
idea,
it's wrong about, isn't it?
You could go and see something.
What's his name, in the Colne River Company? He
Oh,
does
yeah.
exactly that sort of thing.
It might be
Fantastic.
£3 or £4 a little.
Yeah.
If you've got 25 people, that would be a cost saving.
And the other one, John, I wondered if you wanted to add on to your list of attendees, you could try the yachting magazines.
Yes, we've got East Coast Rivers. I've spoken to Gareth at East Coast Rivers, and he's happy to come. Yeah, I guess practically owners and stuff.
Is there yachts and yachting down in Southend?
Yeah. Oh, are they? Is that what they are?
They used to be, I don't know, I haven't checked that recently.
All right, yeah.
Okay, that's been agreed, so we'll move on. The next item is,
Johnny,
sorry,
sorry, before
Jane,
you move on, can I just mute something for ENT?
we're going to come on to it now.
Oh, I thought you were.
No, that was
Oh,
one, that we were on 6. So we're now moving to 7, which is the financial request from the Environment and Transport
I'm sorry.
team. So I was going to ask you, Jean, would you say anything?
I thought when John was on,
No.
this one, he was on,
I
he
snuck
was
one
on
in.
7.
He snuck one in.
He snuck it in, okay, thank you.
So you have the minutes of the Environment and Transport team. There's no recommendation for any money here, is that?
No, I'm not asking for money, but I'd just like to move something to see if I've got the support from the finance before I go any further with it, make any further inquiries.
and it's about, we've been looking into a movable, speed limit sign. There's, as you go through Thorrington, you'll notice there's one there.
Yeah.
Because we've laid out for cameras and things like that to assess the speed limit in Ladysmith and other roads, which I won't go into. But we haven't done anything about doing anything about the limits. And I was talking to Alan Goggin about it, and he said, he put me on to the clerk at Thorrington to see what information we could get from how theirs works and everything. And it turned out that they are getting, I don't know whether they're updating theirs, but they're selling their old one. And I'll just read you the email. It says, I'm writing to update you that Thorrington Parish Council has now completed its assessment on its speed monitoring device. And taking into account its good condition and maintenance, it has been agreed that the cost contribution, if we bought it at Brighton City Town Council, would be £2,000. And this includes the shed, data cable, 3 mounting brackets, the protective case, the device itself, and 2 12-volt batteries. And one of their councillors, Councillor Sadler's, he'd go through it with us to see how it, how it all worked. But I don't want to go any further with it if I haven't got the, the approval from finance. So, do you want me to go any further with it? Or?
Well, let's just take a sounding. Anybody like to make a comment on that? I mean, they are everywhere you go. You see these speed signs.
Yeah, I think a new one. I think came in at about 7,000. Yeah.
I know Alan through an Essex County Council scheme did offer us one 2 years ago.
Yeah, that was longer ago than that.
Yeah, lower than that. Do we feel that?
But I think it'd be good because you can move things about. I know you've got to have the pole positioned, but we could have it positioned in a couple of roads.
Jean, just one, sorry.
Yeah.
Just one question. They are getting rid of it for
Yeah,
everyone.
I know.
So
I
why?
haven't asked that question
I
yet.
can tell you why. Because they're obsessed with speeds over there.
No, but why are they getting rid of that one?
Yeah, I am going to ask that question.
Sorry,
So
Jean.
I am going to, that's my next question
Yeah,
to
yeah.
them. But I didn't want to go any further with it, asking them questions
No, I
about
like
anything.
brainstorm,
If we're not, if I've got this committee's
Yeah.
go ahead, it would be £2,000. So
Okay, we'll need.
Well, I'm a member of the ENC, I support.
Okay, good.
I'm
Nick?
sure.
Sorry.
I'd like to see some kind of assessment of its condition and
Yeah.
usability, and if it comes, I'm not saying we want to guarantee, but has anyone got any experience of managing one of these devices, and do
well,
they?
I think that was quite a good offer that then kind of their councillor said he'd go all the way through it or go through it with us, show us what it is, and I mean we all know it works.
Is it the one with the smiley and
Yeah.
red face?
Yeah.
No, I hate that.
I know. It's so good though.
He's who's
Yeah,
scowling at
But
me every
then
time.
you've noticed
That's
that.
the speed though.
You've noticed they
That's the point.
change it from one end of that bit of road to the other.
Yeah.
For about 3 weeks, and it goes to the other end, and it does literally work. But I'm just asking this committee. In
Indeed.
principle, do you want me to go ahead with this?
We understand. Jane,
I was going to say, in principle, but like, I've got no objections to it, but we think I'm doing it a bit, the condition, a bit more of a.
finance
So
commission.
I'll take it a bit further.
Take it a bit
Yeah. I'll probably have a meeting with Councillor Sadler.
Okay,
Perhaps somebody else will come in.
Yeah.
And,
nothing else on environment transport?
no,
Thank you.
Just before we go from that, can I just ask, we paid quite a lot of, I don't know if it was quite a lot of money, but we paid some money for a speed. Where is that?
Tracy.
We have got
Yes,
it
we've got
back.
it back.
I think the problem is that Essex County Council say it's not compliant with their,
Yeah.
It was always the issue whether they would recognise this data, and I don't think it's ever been achieved.
Yeah, they didn't recognise the data.
So yes, we could find out if there's a hotspot as a problem, but it wouldn't go anywhere. We couldn't report it as fact.
But it would help us as to where to position This,
Oh, that's
Yes,
good.
that's
Yeah,
good.
that's what, yeah, I was just gonna say, and then we could
it
use
would
that
help
on that.
us, yeah.
Yeah, and then we can say, well, that's a hotspot, and that's a hotspot,
Exactly.
that's where the right anyway.
Okay, I'm being told we're gonna,
Move on. then.
move on with it. Facilities and community assets, the running track comes up in the next item anyway. Anything else on FCA? Kate's not here, is she? So, there's no more money. I think we can move on to the next item.
No, there is
So-
an item, under
No.
strategic projects, a fund is set up for feasibility on projects selected by the council.
Yeah, and that was, the idea of that was that we close the gap from bright ideas to
Yes.
reality.
Yeah.
I think, and also, I think it's actually enormous to actually get grant funding, which we're not very good at.
Mm.
You know, you've got to sex things up if you want to get some money, you've got pictures and arts impressions, you need a professional help, and whatever, so I just think that we should, so I think that's very important. And we take that and, the money, the LGL money, and make a big jump and earmark that and work out how we want to divvy it up.
Yeah.
I think that's,
Agreed.
I'm just wondering about, kind of ballpark figures, Dave, because the project development, fund is a good idea, as I say, it allows us to get some drawings and to get past the concept stage. But the LGR, we've got a year left of this council, haven't we? So I would say that, the work that's probably gonna be done, were you thinking of sort of 10,000 for this fund?
15, I think.
Was it 15?
25.
For the whole lot?
The LGR, we shouldn't underestimate that.
No.
Not one chance. You know, there's a, as I say, we produce a great string of numbers, but they're just,
Well, I think without having to keep to come back here, I would say that, you know, say 25 to 30,000 would cover hopefully all that expenditure, and if it wasn't spent, then obviously it could be carried over. But it would also leave the council, future council, in a very positive position vis-a-vis the budget, because they would have all that information to hand, and it would be on record, so they would have to keep going back to, and it lays the foundations for.
So that's a joint.
if I could, it would just be nice, we've got to get this right. That's a good, I think it's a good indication, but the next year we'll check this, make sure it's accurate. We've then got to look at the budgets for this year, which were set 4 months ago, and just see if that's got any impact on what we need. Because there's a few things developed, and then decide what figure that should be, but it should be as high as we possibly can make that.
So do you want to set the contingency for this at next month's meeting, when we have full figures, or now?
Well, I would like to say it right now, in principle, and subject to these
Okay. In
principle
principle.
figures, we should agree
Yeah.
for LGL stroke,
I'm very pleased to hear this, because this is based on my thing about resources to do this, because I completely agree with what Nick said about the surveys. I mean, there's gonna be legal fees, there's gonna be surveys, there's gonna be risk registers.
Yeah.
We can't expect Terry
No.
to do that. And then on top of that, we've got projects we want to do, and we're gonna talk about 106 money, which we need to get. I mean, it's very nice, but we still need, according to Chrissy anyway, we still need to get 3 quotes for everything.
Yeah, we can do that next meeting.
No, well, but I'm saying on an ongoing basis, we need resources for this, so I'm very keen that we make this 30,000 or something like that, so that actually we can take on a part-timer that will commission these things and phone people up and say, why haven't I got it yet? Because we can't expect Terry to do that.
I've got to sharpen up our grant applications, we don't get any grant.
Yeah, well, and filling in them, I mean, that's another problem, who's
Follow it
filling in these things, yeah. So I'm very keen that we spend some money on getting some resources to actually finish these things up.
So is the committee in principle to set aside for contingency of 30,000?
And if you like, we can just, in the next few weeks, this will be a bit more accurate. Look at how it relates to this year's budgets, which have changed a bit,
Yeah.
and come up with a sort of actual
Yeah.
set of numbers next time, but with the lion's share of this being allocated to them.
Yeah, absolutely, I totally agree with this, because you put a project forward, and then you sort of come up against a brick wall when you're trying to do grants, and, you know, we're not professionals at that, we need professionals, and we've got to pay for them, haven't we? So I totally agree, it's a brilliant idea.
And I think also it's keeping their nose to the grindstone,
Yeah.
as it were. You know, you ask for people to do something, you need to fund them up. I mean, Terry will tell you that, just getting
Yeah.
people to construct something or
Okay.
buy it.
I think we did have somebody at one time
We
to
did.
do this, didn't we?
So Graham,
Well,
wasn't it?
yeah.
But he was more looking for
Yeah.
bids, wasn't he?
Yeah.
Hmm.
We need
I think
somebody
we need
who's gonna
somebody
push.
more organised.
Yeah.
Okay, so do we need a proposal second for that? Yes. Proposal, Chris?
Happy to say,
Yeah.
which brings us into a strategic council, so.
Yes, indeed.
Is that 25 or 30?
I was
20
proposing
to 30.
30.
Oh,
30.
okay.
I'll put it down to 30.
Yeah.
All in favour? Any against? Thank you. We move on to item 9, which is the 106 vote. Oh, 8, website accessibility.
Oh, this is a good one. I read this.
I read through it.
We don't
Tracy.
like our website, do we?
No.
Oh, no, I think it's not compliant.
Let's put another one. So under the annual return for this year, we have to tick a box to say that we are compliant, and our website is currently not compliant. So we need to do some work on it. And the National Association of Local Councils suggests a company called Aubergine, that I contacted, and you have in front of you their report.
And I understand it's a one-off setup and build website, £999 plus VAT, unless we're an SLCC member,
Which we are.
which we are. So in other words, we're looking at £899 plus VAT, don't know if you know that. And then there's maybe some additional optional items, is any of those we need?
Transfer of content, yes.
Yeah, we need that, and
We
then
want
there's
everything
a
that's
2-year
on the old
contract.
transfer for the year, I would have said.
Hey, can we get some background on this? How has this started?
We have to be, our website has to be compliant with WCAG
We came up last
2.2
week,
Yeah.
and it is now a thing on the annual return that we have to tick a box, are we compliant or are we not?
Right,
We all have to have .gov,
yeah.
.uk websites, but we can tick everything apart from the website.
Right, no, I fully understand
Yeah.
that. So did we approach these, what they call?
Yes, Aubergine.
Aubergine. Why?
Because I asked the internal auditor for advice and he said, I suggest you go to the NALC website because they recommend, or the SLCC website, whichever one it was, and they recommend Aubergine and you will get a discount for using them. But by all means, if you know of any other website people that make them and have them compliant,
John.
Chair, this is a classic case of our council growing into how to operate things properly and strategically. Councillor Matt Court was the guy that put our website together. He did it very quickly, he did it freely, and it was done like that. We're now into a place, into a grown-ups room now, whereby we need to be looking at something of compliance. I think the ground is not a great deal of money, to be honest, for that. But I do, I mean, in fact, it's sort of quite cheap. But it would be quite nice for him to come down and talk to us. How far away is he? Is he miles away?
Milton Keynes,
Yeah, he says he's.
his address is Leighton Buzzard, he's got offices in central Milton Keynes and
But
London.
I think it'd be nice for him to come and talk to us, for people like Julie and Tracy and others, to know how he plans that we can just change content on our.
I think it does say.
It does say
It
that.
does say that.
He says we can book in a time for a demo.
Yeah,
We should do a Teams.
we could do a Teams with him.
Yeah.
So shall we just move that we'll have a team's
Yeah,
meeting
we'll
on
have a
it?
chat with him.
Can I just say, that I'm very happy with this, and I misunderstand it, but I think, what can I say? Tactically, I'd like to know whether there's a local company that can do this. I'm sure there isn't, but I think we might be correct enough.
I think it's a fair point.
We can ask our contact at Colchester City Council that came.
If there's a local.
Well, I think there's some other people in the town as well.
Oh, I see, okay, yeah.
But I'm sure they aren't registered to be compliant, but I think it would be correct to actually ask if there's a, because I mean, there's quite a few people in the town that do this now. I mean, what's his name, Robin Page's company
Yeah.
started to do this.
Yeah,
sort of
they're
thing.
really quite.
Okay.
So I think, I don't know how we could put put an advert out or something like that, but I think if we'd like to ask locally if there's
Expressions of
anybody
interest.
Should we put that through the comms?
I think so.
Could you do that?
I think
I think it's a very good
expressions
point.
of interest.
We ought to try and use local.
So should we do that before we ask him to come?
Yeah.
just before we can, I'm pretty sure that qualification is quite unique in the sense of, but I think it's appropriate that we ask them.
I mean, if you get a professional, somebody like, I'm not saying strong, but if somebody like that, they may wish to compile themselves to be.
Yeah. No, I think that's a very fair point. And actually, you can use this as a point of reference to him, to see if he can do it.
It sounds as if we know what we're talking about.
No, but steady.
Yeah.
Okay, I'm conscious of the time and planning. 106 monies, it has been agreed through FCA. We looked at the lozenge project and the fitness track around the boating lake. We have had one quote for each, and this is to do with it, and I understand Graham Stelly has actually spoken to the people at tendering who said that they would look favourably on this if we go forward with it. Should we take the lozenge first? So do you want to add to anything on the lozenge?
I think we've already agreed.
That's exactly what I was going to say. This, as far as I can remember, but don't quote me on figures, was it has come to council. It has been agreed. I think it was a £10,000 grant that was agreed. Now, if
15.
sorry, but
It was 15.
50. Okay. That 106 would monies if tendering agree, which we know that they like the idea of it and will agree to it. But I'm also quite mindful that how long ago did we agree it, and if it was within the 6 months, we can't change it or discuss it. So
Okay.
it's the we don't need to slap wrists for something else.
Okay,
Basically, I think I did put all the.
you did. I've got.
So it's down to, we've actually got down to £8,000 now. Basically, that was because Rob Butcher said he could do, more than that. But of course, to be able to do that, he needs a licence, which costs him £7,000. So then we said we'll go back to Anglian Water, and that's what we got, Anglian Water.
The tax.
And that's what.
Can I just ask a question, that you could ask at tendering? On the lozenge, I can't see how we can do anything about the tap, because that has to be done by the water company.
Yeah.
So the rest of it then comes down to about £4,000 as a project.
Yeah.
And do you need 3 quotations for that amount of money for 106? Can you find out whether?
Well, I did ask that question, and they said no, because of the nature,
we don't
the
need.
nature of the Anglian Water.
Yeah.
Then
We don't
I
need
said
3
we-
quotes.
Yeah, I said it's a specialist thing, it's going to be in, and also we are going to bring in people,
Okay.
The public to help
Right,
as well.
so we don't need 3 quotes for that one, but we probably do on the fitness track. Probably.
Yeah, we put in one. I think we need another.
Yeah, at least another one. So I'm happy to get one of those. Again, we've got one from Robbie, as you know, but I'll get another quotation from a guy who's a ground worker. I'm sure we could do that. And if we do that, we can then put the best quote through to tendering for 106 money for the fitness track.
Yeah.
And if so, we need to agree this in principle today, or has it been agreed, do you think?
I think it's been agreed.
It's been agreed.
Sorry, just going on the FCA, you'll see that you wanted to change the name, didn't you?
Yeah, I just.
Fitness. What do we do? And I think we did.
You
call
have
it,
changed it to the fitness.
Fitness or all inclusive.
And all inclusive, all ages.
Yeah.
The idea, I mean, it could be used by wheelchairs, it could be used by post-operative people coming out, so they can go for a long walk.
Healthy track.
Healthy, yes, I think.
The well-being.
The well-being track.
Yes, and the idea is that we can push wheelchairs and everybody around.
If it's been agreed,
Well,
and we're going to get this extra
At
credit.
FCA last Thursday, it was agreed that the track should be described as a fitness track to be fully inclusive. In principle, the scheme has been accepted by TDC as per Councillor Seddy's email, but depending on the conditions, 2 more quotations may be required. Councillor Seddy to confirm this, Consideration to be made for claiming extra money from 106 for signage and sundries.
Well, I'll get the extra quotes, that's not a problem. Can we now say, can the comms team,
Can I just add one
yeah,
thing? Because I've discussed this with a couple of people, and the one thing that came back, which I hadn't thought about, and is still an issue on the prom, is can there be some way that stops it from being used as a cycle track?
You put the no cycling signs up.
Well, no, I think it should be included as a cycle track. We have very little provision for that in the town.
What,
and
right?
it's-
Round the boat,
Yeah,
I think we end up
Why
with,
then?
I cycle around that. When we were, I avoid the prom and go around there.
round the cycle track, round the outside of the pond.
Yeah.
honestly, I have.
Well, what about somebody walking along?
Get out the
There's
window.
two things.
Well, it's dual use, you can have dual use facilities, they're all over the continent, they're all over this country. Go along Harwich Prom, it's dual use, Clapham Prom is dual use, it's just down to sensible and common sense kind of approaches. Somebody's there, you ring your bell or you slow down. So it's not like one or the other, and I think that to exclude cyclists will be discriminatory. They've got nothing in this town. They're not allowed along the prom, and they get shouted at for going along the bloody railway line. So, come on, let's get a little bit.
To be extended to the prom as well.
Yeah,
I think everywhere else.
Okay.
But the issues are, one, people say, oh, people still run on the prom. I said, well, how do you police it? Because we haven't got anybody there. How do you police it? And something I suggested along the lines of, we just have dual use, pedestrians have right of way.
Yeah, we do that in
I
lots
think
of
it's
sites in
very
Tringham.
good.
Yeah.
However, I do think this is an exciting project for Brightlingsea, and I think the comms team should be picking it up and actually getting it out there so that this is what the council will do, and also ask for any public comment as to what it could be used for.
That's a better one. So strategically, what are you asking the Commons people to say?
We
So
want
you
to
say
get
that
feedback.
we're proposing that the promenade and other paved areas will become dual use? No, is the proposal that they may become dual use?
No,
It's been voting, we're 10 minutes.
feedback. We're just trying to get.
We want feedback.
Yes, I mean, there might be
to-
something, so I'd like to run a weekly keep fit thing there, and I'll organise it, that sort of thing.
Okay, so you'd like some feedback from the residents
Yeah.
as to how the promenade and other paved areas could be used
For the
for
boating.
Active travel.
for active traffic.
Active travel, walking, cycling.
Yeah,
Yeah.
mobility good.
Okay.
I don't think we should say dual purpose.
I have
along the
listed
prom.
one over
I
in
am
Bay.
concerned by the time,
Well, I
because I think we're moving into the.
I do it anyway.
Okay,
Exactly.
so thank you for that, so if we get the comms to do something on that, that'd be really important. The Bright Shedders licence. Chris, I don't
I'm
think we-
working on that I've suggested that we give the Bright Shedders licence a 6-year out of, what's the right
Out of
word?
contract.
Out of contract, lease. Out of contract means that it doesn't apply to the 1987 Leasing Act, so it actually means that all the rights of continued ownership, blah, 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 doesn't take effect. They seem to be happy with this, and I found a place where you can fill the form and you get one come out and print it out for you. The only issue is filling in some of the detail. I'm still waiting for a map.
I did the map, didn't I give it to you? Okay, well, make sure I get that to
And
you.
also, parking facilities, was it over?
Yeah.
Where they can park.
Okay.
Oh, no, not that, there's the access loo. You go with that? There's some detail, we don't need to talk about that now, but there's a few minor details to go into, because as it is a proper lease. By the way, the Shedders are a registered charity.
Yeah.
So there's an entity to do a lease with.
Okay, so that's moving very well and should be
Do we
completed.
need is that okay with everything? Do we need-
Yeah.
Do you need a proposal there?
It wouldn't hurt.
Okay, proposed. Chris, seconded. John, all in favour? Thank you. Last item I've got is any questions from the public?
Well, how much 106 money have we actually got?
I think it's about 70,000.
So this track, yeah, you've got the track, it's gonna be 2 things, yeah. Let's hope they don't knock any of the model boat club people into the water, you never know. Well, you never know.
That's the good, how would they
could run.
Yeah, but what's the actual width? I know they've
Width
got
is 2 metres.
22.
2 metres,
Yeah.
and it will
And
be,
what is there a sort of estimate of what it's gonna cost?
yes,
Yeah.
the estimate is, is £7,896. And that would be to deliver the plant, set up the code barriers, evacuate area, and what has not been type 1 disposed of, supply Taram and supply 100 millimetre of type 1 crushed and compacted, and then supply A1 sand filled to depth of 200 millimetres to all areas, lean, clean and tight, and edged. So it'll be a proper smooth surface for everyone to use.
Yeah.
And hopefully we will get sort of it used by the public and open up sort of keep fit clubs and run-off clubs, and you can get your personal best. It's 440 yards, which is, you know, a quarter of a mile. So if you run around it 4 times, you've got a mile.
Yeah, I'm
My
not molding.
thought was, what about the model boat club?
The-
They're
the-
going to be
the-
putting their boats out and staying,
Yeah.
you get people rolling around on
David,
bikes.
it's as Nick has said, it's
Speedway truck.
You're going to get someone rolling around on a bike like you go down the prom.
We do it sensibly and with compassion and understanding for all.
That wasn't how you rode your bike.
Electric scooter, that might be.
I need to move this on,
Sorry,
sorry.
I just want to make one last comment about the track. Because it just come to mind, there are 2 spots on there that get really badly flooded, which is by the, as you come on by the campsite.
Yeah.
And the other is a bit by the Lido.
Yeah.
I wonder if there could be a little bit of drainage put in there.
I'm going to have
Just
a
a thought.
meeting.
Yeah, I
with
think it
Rob.
needs to be thought about, it really floods all over that track,
Yeah.
which would spoil it.
That's a good one.
Rick, I think when he was looking at this, he said he would angle
Yeah.
the thing,
but it
which
needs to-
will of course allow the speed to.
It's gonna be a bank track, it's gonna go round faster.
Yes, it's a speedway track.
Now,
Get
Vic-
single seater cars
Vic,
round
I
there.
like that one. Okay, at 10:45, thank you for your attendance, and I close the meeting.
Yeah, I just looking at the council's new policy on